Here it is, all 5 parts of our Jin Kazama breakdown back to back, complete with additions from community feedback, as well as a new section at the end covering anti-strats and a roundup. Enjoy! One of the most well-rounded characters in the cast, Jin has a tool for every situation. However, he's especially good at dominating the neutral game. One of the most effective characters at controlling space, Jin is a force to be reckoned with at mid-range. Once the opponent respects this, he has the option of going in for a traditional Mishima Wavedash Mixup, weathering them down with his strong poking game, or simply continue to hang back and control the neutral where he is at his best. Electric Wind Hook Fist. Fast, plus on block, hard to whiff punish, and now in Tekken 7 converting to a launch or normal hit. This is one of the best keep out moves in the game, and a fantastic whiff punisher out of forward dash, sidestep, and backdash. It's also an integral element of his Wavedash Mixup. A Wavedash is a movement technique that certain characters can use, which chains multiple crouch dashes into normal dashes to quickly close the distance. Delayed EWHF. Similar in application to Mishima EWGF, i.e. arguably the best move in the game. Its main weakness, aside from being high, is that it can be sidestepped. Unlike EWGF, this is stepped to the right, not left though. However, Jin will realign with a stepping opponent by dashing. Thus, the safest mix-up for an electric wind hook fist is simply by changing the timing with a dash hook fist, which will reorientate with a sidestep. By continuously wave dashing in the opponent's face, you can also force their back closer to the wall. However, don't get too cocky, as you're basically leaving yourself wide open when you do this. Here are some more skills you should practice out of a wave dash. 1. Wave dash guard. A common method to dealing with wave dash is to simply hop kick, down forward 2, or do a down forward 4 style move. Wave dashing into block, at the very least, nets you a heavy plus to a free punish. For example, if you play against Yoshimitsu, and to keep you out he might do a down forward 4, you are now at +8 and free to do as you please. 2. Wave dash into crouching demon stance. In certain matchups, the move that keeps out hook fist is a high. Some examples are Mishima Godfist, Steve back 1, or generic Magic 4. Against such moves, Jin can slip under with his crouching demon stance, and as a hard call out, punish with CDS 1+2, which deals massive damage. And it also happens to be very hard to punish properly due to pushback. A riskier but more offensive and evasive option is CDS 4, or CDS 2, where he takes a huge step to the right. This is -14 on block, so isn't safe, but can be useful against opponents who are weak to sidestep right. Once the opponent is conditioned not to press buttons or step with electric wind hook fist timing mix-ups, you can now mix Jin's mid and low options from a wave dash. By pressing a single forward after wave dash, you can instantly access dashing moves. Forward 3 is a powerful mid that combos on normal hit, and gives Jin a small advantage even on block. However, it has a somewhat slow startup. It can also be sidestepped to the right, which is Jin's weak side. However, the timing can be kind of tricky, so it's best to follow it up with a small side walk right. Forward, forward 4. This offers even more advantage on block than forward, forward 3, and also leaves opponents in crouch, vastly limiting their options. It doesn't combo on hit, but does knock down on a counter hit. As with forward, forward 3, it can be stepped to the right, but it's recommended to use a short side walk right. Forward, forward 4 hits grounded, so it's most often used in Okizeme situations. Forward, forward 2. A safe on block mid with good range, performed from a dash or wave dash. Jin can use this to dart in and continually keep the opponent in check from surprising ranges. However, the damage potential is quite low, and it can also be stepped to the right quite easily. At max range, this setup's for whiff punishes with Electric Wind Hook Fist against short range moves. Be careful however, as forward forward 2 is terrible on whiff. Crouchdash 4. If you sense the opponent is just going to stand there and block, Crouchdash 4 will trip them for a back-turned combo. As with most options from Jin's Crouchdash, it is vulnerable to sidewalk right. It's also horribly unsafe on block and quite slow to come out, so make sure the opponent is well conditioned before using this. While Standing 3. While Standing 3 is now a safe, homing, counter-hit launcher that can be used from his Wavedash Mixup, an option Mishimas don't have. If you try to step Jin out of his pressure tools, or use high crushes while he wave dashes to close distance, be ready to get hit by this. One advantage this has over Electric Wind Hook Fist timing mix-ups is that it's also a screw starter, so if the opponent steps into something like a hop kick, it will screw them out of the air for a combo. Electric Wind Hook Fist is +5 on block, and only pushes out slightly compared to traditional Mishima Electric Wind God Fist, approximately range 1, making it an excellent offensive pitbull tool. Here are your options, and what they can do, what they lose to, and what you can mix them up with. Follow up with another Electric Wind Hook Fist. Good for a turtling opponent who wants to block. You can also beat out jabs, but your execution will need to be on point. Any standing move slower than a jab, however, will be beat. This will lose to stepping right, ducking or high crush moves, rage art, and power crush. This will also lose to backdash in open space. A more consistent option to beat jabs is down forward 1-4, but like the hook fist option, it will lose to the same responses. Except for crouching and high crush, of course, because it is a mid. Standing 4 is the counter hit fishing option. This will also deal with sidestepping. However, its range isn't great, and its recovery on whiff is very poor, so it is susceptible to backdashes. Also, being high, it can be ducked or crushed. Down back 4. This is the option for breaking down turtles. Ideally, you want to do Electric Wind Hook Fist up close, so if they try to backdash, down back 4 gets them at the tip end. At +5, down back 4 is also very hard to sidestep, only being steppable by side walk left. As a low, down back 4 can be crouch guarded and punished, low crushed, and interrupted by fast highs and mids. so be sure to mix up all your options after a blocked electric wind hook fist to keep the opponent guessing. Forward 4 is a key move in Jin's ability to control the mid-range. This is a safe, fast mid with massive range that also converts to a combo on counter hit. Be careful though, as it is vulnerable on whiff and sidestep right. Forward 4 is another strong option to consider in the electric wind hook fist flowchart. At 16 frames, it loses to jabs, but trades favorably with magic fall, and will counter hit anything slower. Due to its range, this is hard to backdash, but it is possible. It's also vulnerable to sidestep right, power crush, and rage art. Forward 4 used to hit grounded from certain angles in previous Tekkens, but this was deemed perhaps a bit too excessive for Tekken 7 and has been removed. If you want to adopt a more defensive approach, just use this move by itself to stay at range. But if you want to go in, you can cancel this into his crouching demon stance by holding forward. From here, you have several options, but the best is to quickly tap down forward and then back to cancel into a crouch dash, then back into standing guard. This makes the forward 4 completely safe. Jin can also try to perform his demon stance moves. However, a ready opponent can beat every single option with a simple down forward 1, so it is imperative not to be predictable using moves from stance. Parry. Jin's parry operates quite differently from other counter-type moves in the game. On successfully parrying an opponent's move, instead of launching into a pre-canned sequence of hits, the move will instead simply pass through. As a result, it is best used as a highly unconventional keep-out tool to stop opponents from pestering him with safe long-range mids. Coincidentally, the very thing that Jin excels at. For example, against Jin forward 2, Steve Albatross 2, Brian forward 4, or 3 and 4, Lee forward 3, Lars forward 1 and 2, and so on. These all turn from being safe to launch punishable. This also applies to normally plus on block running 3s and running 2s. Jin can also turn most powerful plus on block mids into launch opportunities with his parry. Good examples are Law Dragonhammer, Brian back 1, and Jin forward 4. However, you can't always launch after parrying such mids. For example, Dragunov back 1 and 2, and Horang forward 4, in which case you'll have to use Jin's 10 or 12 frame punishes. Some will merely net you plus frames. One unique attribute about Jin's parry is that it also works against knees and elbows, which are usually unparryable. As with all parries, it leaves Jin wide open and can be a considerable risk. However, if you have scoped out some tendencies on a predictable opponent, the risk-reward is in Jin's favor. By the way, don't bother trying to parry Electric Wind Godfist, unless you're just going for style points. It's too fast, too risky, and you only get jabs in return. Jin's down forward 1 string has long been a staple of the character's powerful poking ability. Down forward 1-4 is a safe, mid-high, natural combo that deals good damage and wall splats. The main difference in Tekken 7 is that the 4 does a spin around animation, which leaves Jin at a big advantage, but at about a backdash distance away. This means that if you try to pressure the opponent with a low, they can easily backdash and whiff punish. However, a forward 4 cannot be interrupted with jabs, power crushes, sidestepped, or backdashed. So it is an effective lockdown option. This string doesn't jail, so if the opponent sees down forward 1, they may try to duck the high for a launch punish. In this case, try throwing multiple down forward 1s out. Down forward 1 4-4 is a mid extension that combos on hit and is safe on block. However, it can be interrupted by launches and can be stepped in both directions. However, since the move takes so long to come out, often it will reorientate with a step, so a side walk is the best way to get around it. 2-1-4. 2-1 is a natural jab string combo, whereas the 4 only connects if the 1 hits on counter hit. This is also hit confirmable. Being high mid makes it very safe for a jab string, and good at stopping while standing 2 shenanigans, guaranteeing the 4 extension on counter hit. It is 10 frames, meaning you can poke and bait out power crushes. For a jab string, it has pretty good tracking, which means it's very hard to sidestep and punish him. 2-1 on hit is +6, so an instant electric wind hook fist will beat any move that isn't a high crush or power crush. And forward 4 will also trade with jabs. Note, this doesn't mean he can't get the combo. On the offense, this is one of his best moves. Electric wing hook fist, down back 4, forward 4, forward 4 3, whilst all incredible moves, suffer from the same drawback. They are counter hit bait. 2-1 doesn't have this issue, so you can mix up 2-1 with these moves to score easy taps and force them to block and then start your guessing games. On block, this move is -3, meaning a follow-up 2-1 will lose to jabs and magic 4s, and trade with down forward 1. However, you can still comfortably step after. If your opponents love to jab after 2-1, simply end the string with 2-1-4 and scare them away from retaliating. Do note that should you fish for this and delay it, this can be stepped and launched very easily. The 4-4 low extension is seeable, launch punishable on block, and doesn't even guarantee a combo anymore. Not recommended. Up forward 2. Jin takes a small step to the left while attacking. A very strong tool in his poking game. Sequences like down forward 1 to up forward 2 are very powerful, especially against opponents who continually pressure with down forward 1, like Lee, Nina, or Shaheen. On counter hit, this will knock the opponent down. Be careful though, as the range is very short, making it vulnerable to backdash and whiff punishes. While standing 2. Jin's while standing 2 is particularly good since it's a fast, while standing launcher that is only slightly punishable on block at -12, meaning you can sometimes throw it out predictively against highs. Now, although while standing 2 isn't too punishable on block, beware that ducking in Tekken is generally very risky. Down 4. This low is negative on hit and behaves the same on counter hit, however it is very fast, tracks well, and goes under jabs. Useful to quickly slip some damage in, or when at a minor disadvantage and you feel the opponent may jab you. Down back 4. Whilst not much of a power low like Hell Sweep or Demolition Man, down back 4 is a low with good range that gives a decent advantage on hit and combos on counter hit. Whilst it is punishable on block and can be stepped to the right, if applied correctly with Wavedash timing mix-ups, it can be tricky to step. Down back 4 is +3 on hit, so here are your options afterwards. 2-1 will beat all moves other than a high crush. This includes Power Crush and Rage Arts, since it will connect before the armor activates. It's also quite hard to sidestep to the right, which is generally Jin's weak side. However, it can be easily stepped to the left. It's also vulnerable to high crush moves, and if the down back 4 connected on the tip, can be easily backdashed. Down forward 1-4 will beat out players that want to duck. It also beats sidestep right, which is Jin's weak side, and is also very hard to step to the left. It will trade with jabs, and is beaten by Rage Art and Power Crush. Standing 4. Many players are going to try to step Jin's pressure, and this move will deal with this. It will also counter hit any standing move slower than a jab for a combo. As with down forward 1, it will lose to Rage Art and Power Crush and trade with jabs. However, the trade is very much in Jin's favor. And as with 2-1, it can be high crushed or ducked, and is vulnerable to backdashes if down back 4 hit on the tip. Down back 4. If the opponent turtles up, then continue to pressure and chip away at their health with repeated down back 4s. This is vulnerable to any move faster than 17 frames, low crushes, and of course low guard. And is also weak to sidestep right, however only by characters with especially good sidestep, such as Lily or Elisa. Most characters cannot sidestep this sequence. So, as ever, be sure to mix up all your options after down back 4 on hit, to keep the opponent guessing. For you. Standing 4. One of the fastest tracking moves in the game. This is used to both stop opponents pressing buttons when they're at disadvantage, and also stop them stepping. This leads to a combo on counter hit, and usually Jin can only get a down to grounded attack on the opponent. This will whiff if you land it standing 4 at tip range, in which case go for forward 4, which will also grant you some nice Okizeme setups. Forward 4 will tag any attempts to immediately stand up, and counter hit get-up kicks. If the opponent waits for you to whiff, you can also recover in time to block get-up kicks. Down 4 will catch opponents who try to stay down, and also tag get-up kicks. The opponents can evade this by simply pressing back. If Jin is slightly to the opponent's right side, for example, if he follows up standing 4 from a sidestep left, he can get a full combo, since he can now pick up with a back 2-1. While standing 4 is safe on block, Jin is at a heavy disadvantage, so be prepared to defend against a mix-up. And it is also high, making it susceptible to high crushes and ducking. It is also easily punishable on whiff, so make sure to use it at a range where the opponent can't backdash. Forward 3. An underrated tool, Jin's equivalent to a generic down forward 4, but faster, making it one of the fastest mids in the game. This doesn't do much damage, but is used to keep opponents in check and end rounds. It also catches sidestep right, which is Jin's weak side. Beware that it has a poor vertical hitbox, so will often go over evasive moves such as sweeps. 1-2-3 or 1-2-4. From a 10 frame jab, Jin can also choose from these two strings for pressure. 1-2-3 ends in a mid and a mini combo on hit, however it can be jabbed in between or sidestepped. This used to be plus on block in previous Tekkens, but is now 0. 1-2-4 ends in a tracking high that pushes the opponent away. There are no gaps in the string. On a solid read, the opponent can heavily punish either option, but the strings cover each other's weaknesses. The opponent can crouch jab to beat both options. However, if Jin has a read on this, he can low parry or hop kick for big damage. Crouchdash 1, Jin's primary ranged whiff punisher. Has enormous range and is mid, but is unsafe on block. Back forward 2-1-2, a fast, delayable string with the first 2 hits being a natural combo. Although every hit is safe on block, the second hit can be ducked, although this is very hard to do in a match, and can be covered by the mid extension back forward 2-3. The third hit can be stepped to the right if delayed. What many Jin players do is perform the first 2 hits in the string, and if it hits, continue pressure. If it's blocked, they perform the last hit in the string to snuff out any retaliation. This can of course be stepped and heavily punished. Back 2-1. Not the best damage, but has good range. Is mid and goes very low to the ground, which means it has the added benefit of going under jabs after a certain point. Useful for ranged whiffs where you don't feel confident it will connect, particularly against opponents who like to fake a whiff and then high crush or jab. While you can delay the hits, it natural combos only when undelayed, so it's usually best not to. Back 2-1 is very useful against characters who have evasive stances that go low to the ground. However, on block it leaves Jin at a heavy disadvantage right at the opponent's face, so it's best avoided against characters with strong mix-up options. The second hit of this string also has a nasty habit of whiffing entirely at max range, so it's generally best to just stick to forward 4. Back 3. A fast mid-knee that combos on counter hit. Safe on block but lacks range, and is easily punishable on whiff. This is best used on the defensive to catch opponents who utilize too many high crush moves. Back 3 is a bit of an oddity in that if you cancel it into CDS, it actually becomes 1 frame faster, going from 16 frames to 15 frames. If you crouch dash cancel the CDS transition, it is unsafe. However, most jabs will simply go over the CDS. It can be punished by a down forward 1 though. Punch Parry. When Jin is at a heavy but not punishable disadvantage, for example after a down forward 1-4, back 2-1, or standing 4, he doesn't have much option other than to predict a mix-up. However, if you believe that the opponent will try to down forward 1 you to keep you in check, the punch parry will catch them. This can be followed up with a forward 2 for a quick combo. Regular wind hook fist used to be a good setup for the punch parry, but unfortunately it is now -10, so can be punished by jabs. However, this is a difficult punish as it comes off a fast, single hit move that can have different properties depending on the electric version. So the opponent may still mistime their punish and get tagged by the punch parry. Punch parry is mainly used as a hard callout for jab happy opponents. Beware, as it is highly linear and leaves Jin very open. As with most other parries, it's vulnerable to elbows and knees. Against opponents who like to jab a lot, down back 3 is another good option. It high crushes fairly early on in the animation, and continues to crush even whilst it strikes. However, down back 3 is slow, susceptible to sidestep right, which is Jin's weak side, punishable on block, and also high, so don't overuse this. Up forward 4. One of the weaker hop kicks in the game due to its poor range. This is still a great option to take if the opponent goes for a predictable low or crouch jab. Fortunately, in Tekken 7, it's also back to its regular launching status. As with all hop kicks, it is punishable on block. Up forward 3. Jin's safe low crush option, but only combos on counter hit. It has surprisingly decent range.
Your longest reach low crush option though is 4-3. This move is quite slow to start up and doesn't evade lows until quite late in the animation, so don't use it at close range. However, this mid covers a lot of range and has a ton of active frames. On whiff, you won't have to worry about getting launched either, so it can be a good option for the end of rounds where you don't want to stick your neck out too much. This can be punished on block, but only by little low pokes. If the opponent tries to go for something like a stomp, Jin can stand up in time and punish. However, this reaction can be baited with a powerful mid option. 4-3 also hits grounded, making it a good tool for Okizeme situations.
1+2, one of the fastest mids in the game, does a healthy chunk of damage and blows the opponent away. Useful in matchups against opponents who like to duck in, but punishable on block.
Against opponents who apply a lot of string-based pressure up close, Jin's Power Crush can be a good option. This is one of the fastest power crushes in the game, so often absorbs only one strike before hitting the opponent. This is safe on block, but high, so if the opponent throws out a single jab or down forward 1, they should be able to duck in time to launch Jin. So don't overuse it.
3-1-4. Not really a staple of Jin's repertoire since it's slower than his other high strings and super linear, but can be useful when used sparingly. The string always ends in a low,
which can catch unfamiliar players by surprise.
Against players who know better, don't complete the string, and instead test their reactions with down forward 1-4. The delay at the end will also make them hesitant to press buttons, since it leads to a combo on counter hit. So you may be able to connect with another low during their moment of confusion. Throws. With strong command throws for left, right, and both punches, Jin can continually mix up his throws. They all have strong Okizeme afterwards, and then against an opponent who can't break them, they should be used liberally. Jin's 1-2 throw, when teched, switches sides with the opponent, so it can be used to escape when your back is against the wall. Either they take the throw or they get cornered, the choice is theirs.
One more interesting fact about the up forward 1+2 throw is that if you press up back 3+4 immediately afterwards, Jin will let out a little battle cry and the throw will do 2 points more damage.
Crouching Demon Stance.
Jin can transition into CDS by pressing forward from the following moves.
1-3, down forward 3-3, not recommended unless confirmed on hit, back 3, back forward 2-3, again not recommended unless confirmed,
while standing 1-2, again don't transition unless on hit,
and forward 4. If the opponent is anticipating a demon cancel, they can interrupt every single option with a down forward 1.
In general, aside from the forward 4 transition, which can be made safe from the Crouchdash cancel, these transitions aren't particularly useful outside of combos. It's thus best to go into CDS manually while spacing. More on this later. 1-2 is your main pressure tool from Demon Stance. 1 is a mid attack with a heavily delayable mid follow-up. Although this is natural hit only if undelayed, you do have enough time to hit confirm, making this a very powerful string.
The second hit is punishable on block. You can perform the first hit and then sneak in a low for fear of the delayed second hit. 2 goes into a punch with an inbuilt sidestep to the right. Unfortunately, this only reliably evades standing jabs and moves with poor tracking to the right, such as down forward 2 and hop kicks. It is punishable on block.
3 is a new safe, tracking, screw mid. The startup is quite slow, so it's mainly used only in combos and at the wall. 4 goes into a low sweep
that will go under highs, certain mids, and grants Jin a free forward forward 4 or 4-3. If performed after sidestep right, you can also pick up the opponent with a while standing 4 for a combo. Beware, however, that this is slow enough to be reactable if the opponent is watching out for it, and massively punishable on block. Although this will often work against low level players who often mash jab and may be caught by surprise. At a higher level of play, it is a poor choice as an offensive tool. 1+2 is a safe, tracking, launching high. While this does sound great, beware that as a high it can be ducked and heavily punished. As mentioned before, it is quite useful when used in conjunction with a Wavedash. 3+4 is a flying kick that leaves Jin plus on block. Apparently his Akuma anti-fireball option, but not very useful since the startup is a bit slow and the range isn't great. Generally only used in combos. Jin can manually enter Crouching Demon Stance in 2 ways. Back 1 is a retreating option that can be cancelled into Crouchdash with down forward. Some fancy Jin players like to do a little dance to intimidate the opponent by continually cancelling back 1 into down forward. It also constitutes one forward input, so Jin can also press forward 2 or forward forward 3 at any time to do his forward forward 2 and running 3, for example. Down +1+2 is the more offensive manual entry as it advances Jin forward and can be used to extend the range of his stance moves. It also goes under jabs, but isn't as evasive as back +1. As an offensive tool, Crouching Demon Stance is not the most intimidating in the game due to the transitions into it being negative on block, and the only low is seeable and highly punishable. But it can be useful when used sparingly to catch opponents off their guard. However, when used in conjunction with back 1's evasiveness, it is also quite powerful at the wall, with Crouching Demon Stance 1-2 in particular being very scary to deal with. CDS is thus best used as a defensive stance, since back 1 goes under all highs. It is a great option to use damaging whiff punishers like 1+2. A higher risk but even more evasive option is back +1 to 4, which will continue to slip under jab strings and even some mids. Rage Art, back +1+2. High and safe on block, but you can just duck on activation to launch punish. At 13 frames, one of the fastest rage arts in the game, which means you can block punish moves like hop kick. Rage Drive, Crouchdash +1+2, 3-1. This turns Jin's Wind Hook Fist into a jailing high mid string. The second hit comes out quite slowly though, so the Wind Hook Fist can still be ducked and launched, or sidestep right. This considerably buffs his combo damage, as Jin can now get close to 50% even without walls.
And with walls, over 60%.
On block, the first 2 hits are safe, but leave Jin at a heavy disadvantage. He can try to interrupt retaliation by finishing the string, in which case sidestep left and launch punish.
On block, it's instead recommended to hold down forward to go into a crouch dash at a massive advantage. At +14, Jin can easily beat out retaliation, as well as any attempts to sidestep. So use this opportunity to initiate a Crouchdash mix-up.
Overall, with Rage, Jin's block punishment and combo damage go way up. So what you effectively have is a mini Kazuya with incredible pokes right at the end of the round. This means that even when the chips are down with Jin, he's an even bigger threat than before.
Wall game. Jin has a powerful set of highs and mids to pressure with at the wall. Electric Wind Hook Fist. At +5, this is already threatening enough at mid-range, but with no pushback and backdash no longer an option, this becomes even more intimidating. Refer to the Wavedash Mixups section regarding your options on block. 2-4 is a 10-frame high that wall splats and is safe on block, though this can be stepped to either direction. Forward +1/+2 is a more damaging 14-frame high that also wall splats and is safe on block. This is very hard to step to the right, Jin's weak side, since the second punch will often catch you. It is easily steppable to the left, however. Down forward 1-4 is Jin's fastest mid wall splat. It will also catch sidestep right, which is Jin's weak side. This can normally be stepped to the left, though you really shouldn't against Jin, but at +5, for example after a blocked Electric Wind Hook Fist, it cannot be stepped at all. Down forward 1-4 is safe on block, but can be ducked. Back +4 is another safe on block mid option. It's a little slower than down forward 1-4, but has better range. It can be stepped to the right, but cannot be stepped after Electric Wind Hook Fist on block, or down back 4 on hit. A great option against opponents who like to throw out jab strings or down forward 1 strings is up forward 2. This wall splats on counter hit, but the wall splat is somewhat inconsistent. However, this is still a very strong option. Down 1, another safe mid. This is slow but goes under jabs. Not immediately though, so along with down forward 1-4 is a good option if you think the opponent will jab after a blocked Electric Wind Hook Fist. Also like down forward 1, it will catch sidestep right, Jin's weakness, but will lose to sidestep left. Down back 4 can be used to continuously apply pressure on the opponent. This can be stepped to the right, but only by characters with better than average sidestep, such as Lily or Elisa. Again, refer to the previous section in top moves to understand all your options on hit. Just note that you should replace 2-1 with 2-4 as you can get a wall splat from it. 4 is your tracking option. If you feel the opponent will step in either direction, use this for a wall splat. Back 1 to forward 2, or just forward 2. A very powerful tool to use at the wall since it is now completely safe on block and has huge range. Beware opponents who try to sidestep right, however. Back 1 to 1-2. A hit confirmable, damaging, wall splatting mid string from a stance that high crushes, so this is a very scary option. Easily steppable to the left, which opponents shouldn't really do against Jin, but can be sidewalked right. This is uninterruptible if the second hit isn't delayed, but is unsafe on block, so make sure you hit confirm. The second hit, if delayed, can be stepped to the right, which generally only higher level opponents will try, in which case down forward 1-4 will catch them. Back 1 to 3. Another strong mid wall splatting option. This is slower than the previous CDS option, but is safe on block and fully tracks in both directions. After a successful wall splat, here are your combo options. 2, down back 2-2-3. A solid damaging combo with some decent Okizeme afterwards as well. Beware that this will go straight through Kuma because of his silly hitbox. 1-2-3 to a guaranteed down 4. Slightly easier to land than the first combo, but does 1 point less damage, and you also have slightly less time to set up Okizeme. This is one of the few combos that works on Kuma. But against the bears, you can do a specific combo in 3-1, 1-3-2, 1-4. But it doesn't actually do any more damage than the previous combo. 3-1 to back plus 2-1. Less damaging than the previous two combos, but gives you much more time for Okizeme. This will again go straight through Kuma. Certain moves such as while standing 2, CDS 1+2, and down 3-4 will give you a high wall splat. In this case, you can add a bit of damage by simply tacking on 3-1 before your standard combo. Backdash, down 3-4 to Resplat, and whatever combo of your choice. This is slightly more damaging, but unfortunately quite inconsistent unless you're directly flush to the wall, so generally not worth it. If forward 2 hits on the tip, then this Resplat combo is much more consistent, so you might want to go for it then. Another somewhat inconsistent method of tacking on some extra damage is sidestep left or right to 3-1 to whatever combo. This only works on stages with straight walls, and again, I don't generally recommend it. After a wall splat, forward 4 or back 1 to forward 4 is a good option to continue mid pressure, and also catches opponents who stay on the floor, tech rolls to both sides, and if performed immediately after the down back 2-3 wall splat combo, will also beat quick spring. However, if the opponent stays on the floor and does a get up kick, it will beat this out. In which case just backdash to an easy whiff punish to another wall splat. Or keep them in check with forward 4 or down forward 1, or any mid. Alternatively, take out all the guesswork with the Okizeme combo 3-1 to back 2-1, which will give you enough time to do a forward 4. In this situation, the opponent's only option not to take any more damage is to simply stand and block, which will grant Jin frame advantage. Forward 3-3. Another slow mid, which is +6 on block, meaning down forward 1 or 4 can stuff rage art attempts. Though, if the opponent techs to the right, this will miss. This also doesn't hit grounded, but you can use this to your advantage. If the opponent stays on the floor and tries to wait this out to hit it with a get up kick, you can simply complete the string and get an easy wall splat. Be wary though that the extension is -14 on block. Another good option after a wall combo is CDS. CDS 4 hits low and grounded. Once they start trying to get up to block this, go for CDS 1-2. Again, these options can't be interrupted if your wall combo is 3-1, back 2-1. Punishment. Jin has some of the best block punishment tools in the game from both standing and crouching. Jin's 10 frame punishers are particularly strong. His 2-4 is damaging and leads to a knockdown or wall splat, while his 2-1 gives you +6 on hit, which is huge. Unfortunately, Jin has something of a T-Rex arm problem with his strings stemming from 2. Basically, the range is very short, so sometimes you might miss completely. Stupid T-Rex arms. In which case, you should go for his jab strings stemming from 1. 1-2 is his generic string, and on hit, the 3 extension can't be jabbed or sidestepped anymore. 1-3 is an interesting string in that you have 2 options by either holding forward or back afterwards. Forward takes him into CDS stance, and even on hit most of his options can be jabbed out, in which case, yeah, you could go for CDS 2 or the riskier CDS 4, But as mentioned before, CDS isn't the best offensive stance, so I don't really recommend this transition. 1-3 back, however, is a decent option against players who tend to throw out big panic moves, or if you just want to create space. After hitting the opponent with this string, do a backdash while looking for any big whiffs, in which case, just launch punish. Jin doesn't have anything for -11, but at -12 he has 1+2, which is only 1 point more damaging than 2-4, and has even worse range and is unsafe on block in case you mess up, so I don't really recommend it, other than for moves which recover crouching. For long range -12 punishment, use forward 3. At -13, Jin can punish with down forward 1-4, standing 4, and if he has rage, his rage art. Again, if you're in range, you might just want to stick to 2-4, but down forward 1-4 and standing 4 both lead to the new spin state animation, which gives Jin a huge amount of frame advantage, albeit with some pushback, although there are no guaranteed follow-ups since the opponent can still block. After standing 4, you have so much advantage that even if you throw out forward 4 afterwards and the opponent is mashing jab, they won't get counter hit because the jab doesn't even have enough time to start up, in which case just counter hit fish with down back 4. Having said that, the majority of players won't be pressing buttons after a spin state, so it's a good opportunity to go in for a Wavedash mix-up. At -14, Jin can launch with Electric Wind Hook Fist, but the execution is insanely difficult, especially in a real match. Forward +1/+2 is an underrated punishment tool. It's damaging, leads to a knockdown or wall splat, and has decent range. Down forward 3-3 leaves Jin at a massive +8 right in the opponent's face. As with 1-3, you can choose to hop back or transition to CDS, but it's recommended you go in and take advantage of those plus frames. The CDS transition is quite useful here since the hit confirmable, highly delayable mid-mid 1-2 string cannot be stepped or jabbed after down forward 3-3 hits, so it's a good way to apply pressure. You can also punish with 3-1, but it's kind of pointless. At -15, Jin can launch with down 3-4, which is his most damaging option. It is very unsafe though, so if you're not confident in your punish, try up forward 4, which is less damaging and is still punishable, but at least it's not launch punishable. For long range punishes, go for back 2-1. At -16, Jin can also punish long range with forward 4. After transitioning to CDS, 1-2 again cannot be interrupted or stepped here. Let's look at Jin's crouching punishment now. At -11, he just has your generic while standing 4, so nothing special here. At -13, Jin has access to while standing 1-2, which does a decent bit of damage, leaves the opponent in crouching, and can also transition to CDS. Unfortunately, most options can be beat out if the opponent is mashing on while standing 4, in which case just sidestep and launch punish with Electric Wind Hook Fist. You're now free to pressure with CDS 1-2. At -14, Jin's while standing 2 is one of the best crouching punishment tools in the game. Fast, has a reliable hitbox, and leads to more damaging combos than usual. This can really turn the tide in Jin's favor in certain matchups. At -25, for when you block hugely unsafe sweeps, Jin's most damaging launcher is a delayed hop kick. Let's now take a look at Jin's combo possibilities. Note this isn't meant to be an exhaustive list, instead we'll focus on his most practical and flexible combos, as well as how to adapt them on the fly if needed. Jin's standard bread and butter combo, which can be performed from most of his main combo starters, is back 3, to back 3, tap forward to CDS, 1, 4 to initiate the screw, a deep dash in, back 3, tap forward, CDS 1, 2. Remember to make the dash as deep as possible, otherwise the last hit in the combo will whiff. Also make sure that the second back 3 transitions to CDS, otherwise this combo will not work. The reason for this is that by transitioning into CDS, back 3 becomes 1 frame faster. This can be performed after while standing 2, up forward 4, down 3 4, forward forward 3, crouch dash 1, CDS 1+2, delayed hop kick, counter hit down forward 4, and counter hit down back 4. If you see that a wall is coming near, replace the end of the combo after the screw with a back 2-1. Then dash in and do your wall combo. If you hit the wall with a regular combo, do note that you don't have much time to dash in, so you may have to settle for just a down back 2-2-3 or a back 2-1. The back 2-1 does less damage, but is more consistent and gives better Okizeme. After while standing 2, CDS 1+2, and counter hit down forward 4, Jin has enough time to go for alternative, more damaging combos. Jump forward 4, back 3 CDS 1, 4 to initiate screw, dash in, back 3 to CDS 1-2. This is slightly easier than the next combo, but a bit less damaging. The other option is Electric Wind Hook Fist, back forward 2-3, tap forward CDS, 3 to initiate the screw, dash forward, back 3, tap forward, CDS 1-2. This is a bit more challenging, but does 1 point more damage. By ending your combo in back forward 2-3 or back 3 tap forward to CDS, you sacrifice about 10 damage, but get very powerful Okizeme options afterwards. This is especially useful on the waller stages. After counter hit forward 4, Jin has a variety of combos depending on whether he goes in with the CDS transition or not. If he doesn't opt for the CDS transition, dash in, then crouch dash in, while standing 4, back 2-1, 1-2-4 to initiate the screw, then wave dash in and forward forward 2. If he does go for the CDS transition, he can either go for a simple 3 to initiate the screw, dash in back 3 tap forward CDS 1-2. This is also the staple you should use after counter hit back 3 to CDS. If you don't transition back 3 to CDS, simply replace the screw move at the beginning with down forward 1-4. Back to forward 4, if you're in the habit of crouch dash cancelling, which is a good habit, just go for his staple bread and butter combo, which will do more damage and has longer wall carry. After Electric Wind Hook Fist, counter hit Wind Hook Fist, counter hit Crouch Dash 3, and counter hit CDS 3, you have a few options. The easiest combo is to dash in, back 3 CDS 1, back 3 CDS 1-2. A more damaging option is run in, tap back so you don't get while running 3, 3-1, back forward 2, back 3, tap forward to CDS, 1-2. An alternate method to this is to replace the 3-1 with a back forward 2-1. However, this does 1 point less damage. Here's another easier combo, but it's not recommended on wall stages as it lacks wall carry. Crouch dash in, back 2-1, down back 2-2-3. You can make this a little more damaging by replacing the wind hook fist with a manual CDS entry with down 1-2 to CDS 3-4. In order to make the 3-4 connect, you have to wait just a little bit after transitioning to CDS, otherwise the flying kick will go over the opponent. Since the timing can be quite tricky, and this only does 1 point more damage, I don't generally recommend it. This is also the start of Jin's infamous $100 combo. This combo requires a micro dash between back 3 CDS1 and back 3 CDS1-2. This is extremely hard to do, and for a few points more damage, I really don't think it's worth it in a real match. But for bragging points, why not? This combo also won't connect after counter hit Crouch Dash 3 or counter hit CDS 3. If you see a wall coming, again you can just end the combo with back 2-1, or in the case of the back 3 CDS 1 combo, end with back 3 CDS 1 and 2. This can also be used for the combos that start in 3-1 and back forward 2-1. After a Crouch Dash 4, you have two options. The more consistent but less damaging one is back 2-1, 4 to initiate the screw, then dash in, down back 2-2-3. The more damaging but slightly harder combo is back forward 2-3, CDS 3 to initiate the screw, then dash in, down back 2-2-3. Note that since the opponent is back turned, you cannot get a wall combo. On Forgotten Realm, the stage with the floor breaks, Jin can buff the damage of his 1+2 throw and Crouch Dash 4. Jin's 1+2 throw will cause a floor break. Once you land on the lower floor, standing 4 to initiate a screw, dash forward, back 3 forward CDS 1, back 3 forward CDS 1-2, and end with a wall combo if you can. After a Crouch Dash 4 combo, instead of ending with down back 2-2-3, end with down back 2-3, and on the bottom floor, hit them with a forward 4. Unfortunately, Jin can't increase the damage of his staple combos unless he hits a wall. In which case, after a wall splat, hit the opponent with a down forward 4 to initiate the floor break, then on the lower level, go for any wall combo of your choosing. If Jin has Rage, his max damage combo is to do the first 2 hits of his Rage drive, hold down forward, Crouch Dash 3, then dash in, back 3 CDS 1-2. A slightly less damaging but easier option is to simply initiate a screw state as soon as possible and then go into Rage drive. With most moves this will be a standing 4, however with while standing 2, counter hit down forward 4, and CDS 1+2, you can get to the down back 3 for a little bit more damage. With Crouch Dash 4, do a back 2-1 before performing a Rage art. And just to finish off this combo section, let's fully list Jin's screw and floor break moves. Screw starters are standing 4, 2-4, down forward 1-4, 1-2-4, Crouch Dash 3 and CDS 3, and down back 3. Floor break moves are 1-3-3, 1-2-3, down forward 4, while standing 1-2, and down back 2-3, which leaves the opponent face down, reducing your combo potential afterwards. And finally, jumping 1 and jumping 2. As one of the most flexible characters in the game, Jin has strong tools in nearly every area. His Wavedash grants him excellent mobility, allowing him to quickly dart in. Electric Wind Hook Fist is an all-in-one, incredible whiff punisher, keep-out tool, and pressure tool from Wavedash, supplemented with mids like forward forward 3, forward forward 2, and a comboing low in Crouchdash 4, meaning he has a scary mix-up game on par with Mishima's. At close range, Jin can also apply pressure with his excellent poking tools, such as 2-1, down forward 1-4, up forward 2, down 4, and down back 4. Perhaps his greatest strength though is in controlling the mid-range. Forward 4 is one of the best moves in the game, boasting both range and speed, as well as being mid, safe on block, and comboing on counter hits. Jin's punishment is also amongst the best in the game. His 2-4 is one of the most damaging 10-frame punishers. However, it does have range issues. His while standing 2 is undisputedly the best 14-frame punish from Crouch. On top of all this, he can be hard to pressure due to his parry and evasive moves, such as his options from CDS. Jin has a few weaknesses, however. Being a jack of all trades means being the master of none. Aside from his unique parry, there's nothing he does that another character doesn't in some way do better. His range issue with 2-4 also extends to his 2-1, which is one of his primary poking tools, meaning his pressure can often whiff at close range, which is very dangerous. Jin is also weak to sidestep right. However, to counter this, he has some of the best homing moves in the game with Crouchdash 3 and Standing 4, which are both fast, safe on block, and combo on counter hit. Jin is a hybrid character design who mixes a simple poking style with many safe and easy to use long-range mids, and a more technical Mishima style based on his Wavedash mix-up. As far as technical requirements go, since Jin's Wind Hook Fist launches on normal hit only from the Just Frame electric version, it's essential that you practice this along with a smooth and fluid Wavedash. Some of his stance cancels and combo conversions can also be quite tricky. Also, maximizing his punishment and parry opportunities requires a lot of knowledge and experience. Jin is well described as easy to pick up, but hard to master, with a high skill ceiling to make the most of him. A lot of Jin's best moves can be stepped to the right and punished. These include Electric Wind Hook Fist, Forward 4, Forward Forward 3, and Forward Forward 2. Be careful for the Wavedash timing mix-ups, however, and Crouchdash 3, which is one of the best homing moves in the game, being fast, safe, mid, and comboing on counter hits. Jin's down forward 1-4 can also be used to stop sidestep right. However, if he is too reliant on this, bait it out by blocking the down forward 1, then ducking the 4 for a launch. The mid-range is where Jin excels. Instead, try to either suffocate him at range 0 or make him come to you, depending on which character you play. For example, Steve will rush, whereas Brian will turtle. Jin's main tool in the mid-range is forward 4. This is a powerful move, but is quite slow to recover on whiff. If you stay at around tip range of forward 4 and backdash whilst looking for a whiff, you can punish it heavily and make Jin think twice about throwing it out. A lot of Jin's best options from a Wavedash mix-up can be easily counter-hit with a fast high like Magic 4. He does have solutions to this, but it means he has to sacrifice pressure. Jin can apply a more airtight poking game, but this also has holes. His 2-1 string, which is his main 10-frame pressure tool, has severe range issues. Also, his standing lows leave him wide open to counter hits. The exceptions are down 4, which can only chip damage and leaves him negative on hit, and CDS 4, which is highly telegraphed since it comes from a stance, is quite slow, and also massively punishable on block. If you notice Jin is often down back 4ing or crouch dash 4ing you, be more liberal with a fast counter hit interrupter. CDS is not really an offensive stance, and a Jin that recklessly cancels into it should be punished. His main tool to enter it is his forward 4. On block, a simple down forward 1 will beat every single option he has. Jin can crouch dash cancel his forward 4 to make it safe, but it leaves him at a heavy disadvantage at close range, so make sure to discourage him from doing this by putting on the pressure with a mix-up. On hit, Jin is at a big advantage, so don't press buttons or randomly duck, as he has a powerful hit-confirmable mid-string in CDS 1-2. However, his only low from CDS is 25 frames, so if you're looking out for this, you can block it on reaction and punish heavily. 1-3-2-1-4. An annoying string since it goes on for so long. Parry the low at the end or block punish at -13. 2-1-4-4. This is seeable on reaction and launch punishable on block. 2-1-4, if fully delayed, can be interrupted by jabs or sidestepped to either direction and launched. However, if it's delayed just a little, you will get hit for trying either of these options. Down back 2-2-3 is safe on block, but can be sidestepped left for a launch. 1 down 3-4. The first low can be a sneaky round ender, but the second should be blocked and punished. 3-1-4. Watch out for the low at the end of this. Down forward 1-4. This is a non-jailing mid-high, so duck and launch punish. Down forward 1-4-4. Sidewalk in either direction or interrupt. Beware, however, that both options will be caught if Jin just does an undelayed down forward 1-4. Back forward 2-1. Another mid-high string that can be ducked. Beware the 2 at the end of the string if this is undelayed, though you can still interrupt if you're fast enough. This string can be covered by back forward 2-3, which is mid-mid, but -12 on block. Back forward 2-1-2. If delayed, can be sidestepped to the right and launched, or interrupted by jabs. If undelayed, either attempt will get hit. CDS 1-2. Similar to back forward 2-1-2, if delayed can be interrupted by jabs, or sidestepped to the right and launched. If undelayed, you'll get hit for trying either. Unlike back forward 2-1-2, this is unsafe on block though. Rage Drive. If Jin tries to finish the string, sidestep left and launch with a mid, not high, otherwise your launcher may whiff on the last hit of the string. Beware that a better Jin player will usually cancel this on block to a Crouchdash mix-up, which you can't step.
The King of Iron Fist Tournament. Enter the Tekken.
thank you for watching our complete Jin breakdown.
So that's 1 down, 37 to go. At this rate, it'll take us about 3 years to get through the entire roster. But worry not, as we have an exciting new project coming up to address this. All will be revealed next week. Lots of shoutouts. First of all, to our super subscribers on Patreon, all the community feedback and contributors who helped with their Jin information, avoiding the puddle for the $100 combo clip, because I can't do it, the team for making sure this video looked great and getting the word out there, and last but not least, you guys. Thanks for watching, take care, and see you next time.